Yeah, and I can't disagree with anything you just stated there. You know, as you stated, you know, the fight against Hendricks was classic, and that's why I don't like Hendricks. Keeps talking about GSP all the time, like he beat GSP, and he should realize that he won a razor-sharp, razor-thin, you know, victory against Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler was that damn close. Robbie Lawler's chin, made of granite, made of iron. Is that a difference right there, as you stated? These two guys just start throwing bombs because you know that's what's going to happen. A lot of times we hear, oh, this fight is a can't miss. This one, to me, really is a can't miss. They both start throwing bombs. You think Brown hits the canvas first, huh?
Yeah, I think so. And we saw Brown very susceptible to body shots in the last fight, and it was plain as day. You know, he got drilled in the body a couple times, and he really reacted. He was in a lot of pain. Robbie Lawler is going to be hitting a lot harder than Silva was when he rips a body shot, whether it's a kick or a punch. Lawler could be taking advantage of that hole. I would not be surprised to see Brown get dropped by a body shot. Whether or not he recovers and keeps going is, you know, that's TBD, because Brown has pulled that off before. He's a tough dude, but Lawler hits a lot harder, and he's not going to go down as easy as some of the past opponents for Brown. So I just see a lot of things stacking with Lawler. He just so improved over where he was in the UFC long ago. This is the right weight class for him. He's a southpaw. He's coming in, and he's just solid all around.
Reed Kuhn with us. Reed, you should be a salesman because you're very, very, you're very influential. I came into this thinking, I'm locked in on Brown. Now I'm like, yeah, Brown's the underdog. I understand why, but it's true. You look at the fighters: Ellenberger, Hendricks, Rory McDonald, Bobby Volker, Josh Koscheck, as opposed to the Silva, Pyle, Jordan Meehan, Swick. Not taking anything away from Brown, but I'm sticking with Brown. I think he can win, but I get it. I get, you know, Lawler's a badass, man, and I'm really looking forward to this fight. Now, Anthony Johnson made his UFC return, and he beat Phil Davis. Pretty big win. A lot of people thought, you know, Davis's wrestling is going to be too much for Johnson. Johnson's size, it's unbelievable how big this guy is, how strong he is. He's been on a roll right now, 7-fight win streak. His most impressive win definitely was against Phil Davis. He beat Mike Kyle, and he's fought some big dudes. You know, he beat Arlovsky. And then you get Nogueira, who's almost been forgotten about. Dude hasn't fought in, you know, since it's been 2 Super Bowls ago. Not this Super Bowl, the Super Bowl weekend before that when he beat Rashad Evans. It's a hell of a long time ago, man.
Yeah, ring rust, cage corrosion, whatever you want to call it, that's a problem, because it means that he's had a lot of injuries, and it's not like he's had
38 years old, Reed.
He's had time rehabbing from injuries, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, 38 years old, Nogueira, and you know, it seems like the Nogueiras, if you know, they look like they're 60, but yeah, he's 38 years old, but like you said, he's been through a lot physically, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's taken some damage, and, you know, only fighting twice since 2011, that's unheard of. You know, he really has spent a lot of time on the bench, and it's hard to know how much he's been able to train during that period of time. He certainly had to take some time off and recover from various injuries. Johnson, on the other hand, has been very active. He's been running through people. He has not taken damage. He is looking the best we've ever seen him. He was a talent. He had a lot of potential. When he was cutting so much weight, it sucked so much out of him, and I think his ground game was not there yet, and he was taken advantage of on the mat. And, you know, he washed out, and he improved that. He shored up that weakness in his game. He proved it against Phil Davis. Phil Davis, you know, that guy should have taken Johnson down and wrestled him for 3 rounds. That's what he wanted to do, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't get those takedowns. He got beat up on his feet. Anthony Johnson is now a guy who's going to have a strong wrestling base with heavy hands and a long reach. And that's a winning combination for a lot of guys. And that's why he's a big favorite here. You know, the age difference is huge. Johnson is going to be the bigger fighter. He's going to be the longer fighter. And he has crazy knockdown power. I'm going to be putting out a little graph later this week with all the knockdown rates for the guys on the main card. And it's Anthony Johnson, and then it's everyone else way in the back. It's not even close. And, you know, Matt Brown, Robbie Lawler, Dennis Bermudez, those guys do have power, but not nearly what Anthony Johnson has done with his knockdowns.
We got a couple of minutes, and as Reed mentioned, Anthony Johnson, big favorite, a 5-to-1 favorite. So we got 2 minutes here. You mentioned Bermudez. That Bermudez-Matt Grice fight, one of the best fights that I've ever seen. Gets Clay Guida. He used to be known for a high-volume, high-activity type of guy. And then he was stigmatized after the fight with Gray Maynard. It'll be interesting to see where he is right now. He beat Hioki. He got knocked out by Mendez. He beat Kawajiri. So Guida's sort of alternating wins and losses, taking on Bermudez. Who do you like in this fight? Bermudez is favored.
I'm thinking Bermudez. Statistically, he comes in a little bit better on all the performance stats. He's put together an impressive streak. Some of those guys that he's faced and beaten are, in my opinion, a little bit underrated. I mean, Max Holloway, Steven Seiler, Matt Grice, those guys were tough dudes. They're not ranked, but they are quality opponents. Clay Guida has had the bigger name opponents, but he's used his wrestling to get the only wins that he's had in the last several years. They came against two Japanese fighters. He used his wrestling to get through it. He's not going to be able to do that against Dennis Bermudez. Dennis Bermudez also has very good wrestling, and he seems to have the crisper striking, more dangerous. So I got to go with Bermudez here. Yeah,
and Bermudez has shown us he's got a chance. So in a minute here, unfortunately, we don't have as much time as I like for Josh Thompson. Bobby Green's really been surprising people. You know, the win against Pat Healy was impressive considering the controversy after the low blows against Krause. Bobby Green's a plus 210 underdog here against Josh Thompson, who was kind of on the fence of retirement. In about 30 seconds here, Reed, what do you think of Thompson, minus 270 favorite against Green?
I would say this is the hardest one to call, in my opinion, on the main card. I think Bobby Green is looking dangerous. We still just don't really know who he is and what he brings to the table. He seems to be well-rounded. Statistically, he's performed well. Thompson is a top-notch guy, too. Very close to beating Benson Henderson.
Yep.
This one is coin flip for me.
Yeah, it is. It is a close fight. Bobby Green has been impressive, but we'll see. Pat Healy's kind of struggled as of late, so we'll see how he matches up against the Punk. Hey, Reed, thanks a lot for joining us, especially on short notice. We encourage everybody, if you haven't gotten the book yet, you got to order the book. It's great stuff, man. If you're watching the Fight Network, then you're going to like this book. It's Fightnomics. Reed, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for the time.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a good one.
There's Reed Kuhn with us. He's good at breaking this stuff down. Like I said, it's a must-read book. We'll come back with our videos of the week. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network continues.